Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we'll be talking about 5 burning questions facing GMs in the 2025 NFL Draft. Plus, at the end of the video, I'll be going over my official mock draft for round one. Now, the first question is, how many quarterbacks will go in the first round? Now, I've identified 5 teams that are potentially looking for a quarterback in round one. Those would be the Titans, the Browns, the Giants, the Saints, and the Steelers. Now, some other teams that could take a quarterback maybe in round one, but more likely in rounds two and three be the Raiders, the Jets, and the Rams. So keep an eye on these teams throughout the first 2 days of the draft. Now, I've kind of separated these quarterbacks into a couple different tiers. So the one first round lock I have is Cam Ward. I think he is a lock to go to number one to the Titans at this point. And then the next two after him that are likely first round picks would be Shador Sanders and Jackson Dart. And some potential landing spots would be the Saints at number 9, the Steelers at number 21, and potentially the Rams at number 26 if they want a prospect to take over from Stafford once he's done. Now, the wild card here is Jalen Milroe. I could see him going 21 to the Steelers, 26 to the Rounds, or maybe at the top of round two to the Browns or the Giants. And behind these guys, other quarterbacks that are possible day two or early day three picks include Tyler Shuck, Will Howard, Hal McCord, Riley Leonard, Quinn Ewers, and Dylan Gabriel. So names to keep an eye on through the first few days of the draft. The next question is, if I'm a GM, I've got to ask myself, who are my top edge rushers? Now, Abdul Carter is the obvious number one edge prospect. He's going to go either second or third. And after that, it becomes a lot less clear. Here are some others that we could see going round one: Shermar Stewart, Mikael Williams, Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., Mike Green, and Nick Scouton. So the big question is who's next after Abdul Carter and how many of them are going to go in round one? I don't see a clear way to rank these prospects after Abdul Carter. And, teams are going to disagree on the relative order of these different edge rushers. So be interesting to see how this hierarchy breaks down on draft day. Now, the next big question is who's going to try to trade up? Now, this draft is a little weird because strangely, no trades involving first round picks have taken place yet as of Monday night when I'm recording this. So, even though this draft class is considered a little weak, there are a couple players who teams might want to trade up for. One of these would be Ashton Genty. Question is, will someone try to jump the Raiders at number 6? Now, I'm just looking at the board and wondering if maybe Jacksonville might be willing to trade down at number 5. The next targets would be either Shador Sanders or Jackson Dart. Now, if a QB needy team has a strong preference between the two, I think it's possible they could try to jump in front of the Saints at number 9 or the Steelers at number 21 to make sure that they snag their guy. And the final one would be Jalen Milroe, as we've discussed. If the Giants or the Browns pass on quarterbacks early, they might try to trade back into the late first round for Milroe or potentially another QB that they like. Now, other positions that teams might want to move up for would be wide receivers, tight ends, edge rushers, and offensive linemen. Again, if they have a strong preference on, a specific guy, we could see teams move up for these positions. Other than that, I don't really see a lot of desire to move up in this year's draft. Now, question number 4 is when should I take a running back? Now, Ashton Jeanty, I think, is a lock to go in the first round. He's not going to drop past the Cowboys at 12. He's probably gone by pick number 6 to the Raiders. O'Marion Hampton's going to be the next running back off the board, generally considered. Could go later in round one. And, beyond that, many quality running backs are going to be available in rounds 2 through 4, including guys like Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, Cam Scatterbu, Devin Neal, RJ Harvey, Brashard Smith, Ollie Gordon. The list kind of goes on and on. So the big question here is do I take a running back in rounds 1 through 3 when a good option might still be available in round 4 or 5? We're going to see each team approach this question a little bit differently, but I think you're going to see perhaps a record number of running backs in the modern era go in this draft. Now, the final question is which corner do I want? Travis Hunter obviously will go in the top 5. Who's the next one off the board? Some of the next corners that could come off the board would be Jade Barron, Will Johnson, Siobhan Ravel, and Benjamin Morrison. But many of these guys have injury concerns. So does that change the way that GMs approach this? Also, another note is that last year more corners, 36, were selected than there are teams in the league, 32. So really the question here isn't should I take a corner, it's when should I take a corner and which one do I want? So keep an eye on that when your favorite team is on the clock this week. And as a bonus, just to give this video a bit more of a BYU focus. These are my final projections for the top BYU prospects. I've got Caleb Etienne going round 5, pick 160 to the San Francisco 49ers. Tyler Batty going just a few picks later, pick 175 to the Seattle Seahawks. Both these guys, I feel good about their chances to get drafted. And beyond them, guys that I think have a chance to potentially make a roster as a free agent would be Jacob Robinson and potentially Connor Pay. I was pretty high on Jacob Robinson earlier in my previous video on this. However, he's not really gotten the attention that I thought he would. But I still think that the team is going to take a chance on him in the undrafted free agent market. And finally, here is my full round 1 mock draft. So not a lot of surprises at the top. We'll go with Cam Ward to the Titans at number 1. The Browns are going to opt for Travis Hunter to strengthen their receiver and potentially DB room, but probably looking at him as an offense first guy. Then the Giants are just going to take best player available. I'm not going to take a quarterback. They'll go with Abdul Carter. Patriots will get some protection for Drake May with Will Campbell, the best lineman in this draft. Jaguars will keep it simple and go with Mason Graham. Raiders will go with Genty. And then the Jets will pass on the lineman and I think go for Titterota McMillan. Give Justin Fields another weapon to work with. And then we're going to see Mike Green out of Marshall be the next edge off the board, going to Carolina at number 8. Shador Sanders going at 9 to the Saints. With the Derek Carr news, I think that they will take a quarterback sooner than later. Now, this is my first real twist of the draft. I've got the Bears going tight end, both Tyler Warren, give a mix of protection and a weapon for Caleb Williams. Then we've got Jahdae Barron coming off the board at number 11 to the San Francisco 49ers. And then the Cowboys will take Texas receiver Matthew Golden, keep him in the state of Texas. Then for the Dolphins, I've got them going interior defensive line with Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. The Colts are going to get the other first round tight end and Colston Loveland out of Michigan. The Falcons are going to keep Jalon Walker in the state of Georgia. Number 15. Cardinals will go CB and they'll go for Will Johnson out of Michigan. Then another Michigan man, Kenneth Grant, will go to the Bengals, who desperately need to improve their run defense. Kelvin Banks Jr. will go to Seattle at 18, strengthen their O-line. Then off-ball linebacker Jihad Campbell will go to the Bucks at 19. This has been widely mocked by a lot of people, and I agree. After missing out on the tight ends, the Broncos will go for Mika Ivuka to give them another option in the pass game. And then I've got the Steelers going with Jackson Dart at pick number 21. Again, I just think that they need a QB and can't afford to go out of this draft without one. Chargers will get Luther Burden at number 22. Looks like a good value pick for them. Uh, then here is where it gets a little trickier to figure out what teams are going to do. But I've got Green Bay Packers going for an edge rusher, James Bruce Jr. Malachi Starks goes to the Vikings to strengthen their defensive back room. And then I've got Armand Membu falling all the way down to 25 at the Texans, giving them some extra protection. The Rams will go tackle as well with Josh Simmons. The Ravens will take yet another Notre Dame defensive back with Benjamin Morrison. The Lions, unsurprisingly, will take an offensive lineman in Zabel out of North Dakota State. While Marion Hampton will come off the board to the Commanders, giving them another weapon. Then the Bills will take the edge rusher out of Boston College, give them some more life in their pass rush. The Chiefs, as we all know, need an answer at tackle, so I have them going with Josh Connerly out of Oregon. And finally, the Eagles, I have them strengthening their edge rusher room, which was so crucial to their Super Bowl win by taking Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M. So that's my full mock draft for round 1. Let me know what you think, and look forward to seeing what you guys have to say down in the comments. Thanks.